Righto, I think I'm live, and we're inside the booth. Got the hydration. The secret. Alright, and close the door. Outside world disappearing. Sorry, dribbling. Stress levels lowering. Welcome back to Boothy. Good to see you, boys. I'm out a little bit later than I wanted to be tonight. I could have been out maybe not much earlier, about half an hour earlier. I crashed out on the couch while your mum was reading you some stories. I did the dinner, she did the stories. Had a parent-teacher interview for you older this afternoon. First one for the year with that teacher. And yeah, it went well. And you got some mega impressive handwriting. And yeah, just all around good stuff. And Younger, you've had a great day. You seem like you're getting sick. I'll be honest with you. Younger, you seem like you're getting sick because you are on a hair trigger at the moment in terms of resilience and mood, but it's going to be all right. And the reason I also suspect that you are sick is because I am also sick. So I figured it might be something to do with that. Sorry, I'm just hooking us up on the stream here. Right. So we will see how we go tonight. I probably won't. I know I always start by saying I'm not going to oh God, what is this? I always start by saying I'm not going to talk much, but I'm actually not going to talk much. Let's see. I always start by saying I'm not going to talk much. Yeah, there's me saying I won't talk much twice, so you can hold me to it. All right, I want to get straight into it tonight. One side note, though, I found out today that there's a thing called BookTube, and I don't really understand what that means. It's because I found this channel called Genre Books, and it's a guy called Gavin, and he's got a channel, and it's quite good. I quite like it, actually. I really like the fact that I can see that he actually considers what he says instead of like me just mouthing off about whatever he wants to. So, yeah, that's nice. And he definitely seems to have a real passion for, in particular, public domain texts. Definitely, nothing new there. But, yeah, he talks a lot about, oh, crikey, Mikey. Ugh. He talks a lot about BookTube, and I'm not really sure what it is. I don't really get it. I think it's like a sub, like not a sub, like it's a community within the community of YouTubers. And it's more like basically a perpetual book club by the sounds of it, except instead of always talking about the same book, you just talk about whatever the fuck you want and give each other challenges and stuff. And it sounds pretty cool. I think they don't call it challenges though, they call it like events. I don't really know. I think it's like where you have to do stuff like read a certain number of books. I don't know. And they ask each other like cool little, like cute little survey questions about them and their reading habits and their YouTube channels and stuff like that. It reminds me a lot of when Facebook first came out and MySpace, and people used to email each other and MySpace each other all these surveys all the time, and then you'd release your survey answers to your friends on MySpace. And it's got such a cool little kitsch vibe to it. I love it. I love the idea of BookTube. I still don't really get what it is, but other reading channels seem to have it. They talk about it a lot. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that tonight. We're going to warm up our voice. Like I said, I'm a bit ill, but we'll try our best, And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the library of short stories. I'm going to filter by length, and I'm going to just pick a random one. We're just going to start warming up our voice, right? I'm not going to start singing to warm up my voice, so don't worry about that. Oh, check this out. A small fable on the consequences of arrogance. We could all use a little reminder as to why we shouldn't be arrogant. Let's do it. It's only 82 words long. The Eagle and the Cox by Aesop. 82 words, it's not very long, published in around about 400 BCE. Aesop was, prolific in his time, but a long time ago. So let's see what he knows. There were two cocks in the same farmyard, and they fought to decide who should be master. When the fight was over, the beaten one went and hid himself in a dark room, while the victor flew up onto the roof of the stables and crowed lustily. But an eagle espied him from high up in the sky, and swooped down and carried him off. Forthwith, the other cock came out of his corner, and ruled the roost without a rival. All right, that's a simple little but effective demonstration. Let's not be arrogant about the things we win at. Let's be good at losing and good at winning. The Dog and the Shadow by Aesop. Let's read that. Why the fuck not? Why the F not? The Dog and the Shadow, translated from ancient Greek by V.S. Vernon Jones by Aesop, published around 400 BCE. A dog was crossing a plank bridge over a stream with a piece of meat in his mouth when he happened to see his own reflection in the water. He thought it was another dog with a piece of meat twice as big, so he let go his own and flew at the other dog to get the larger piece. But of course, all that happened was that he got neither, for one was only a shadow, and the other was carried away by the current. Oh, you silly puppy. I like that. Ooh, I like Dorothy Parker. What I've read of her, I like. Hang on, I'm just going to get this a little bit closer because I want to get close to you. Oh, I've just had a message come through on my phone. It's a work colleague who is also a published author, short narrative actually. She specializes in like dark fantasy and romantasy and stuff like that. She's in a couple of anthologies. She enters short story writing contests all the time. Pardon me. And she's really, I dig her writing a lot. I vibe with it. And she's just sent me a reminder to catch up. I'm supposed to have read her. I don't know. I'm not like an official reviewer of her work. I just like reading her stuff. And yeah, we just have chats about it around staff room table. So I definitely need to read that. But I have a day off tomorrow. I'll probably read that at some point tomorrow when I'm having like a coffee. Let's read this. It's called Afternoon by Dorothy Parker, and it was published in around about 1930. It's a poem. When I am old and comforted, and done with this desire, with memory to share my bed, and peace to share my fire, I'll comb my hair in scalloped bands beneath my laundered cap, and watch my cool and fragile hands lie light upon my lap. And I will have a sprigged gown with lace to kiss my throat. I'll draw my curtain to the town and hum a purring note. And I'll forget the way of tears and rock and stir my tea. But, oh, I wish those blessed years were further than they be. She wants peace and rest. She wants to be far away from her past. All right. What about this guy? The Bee and Jupiter. Why not? Let's do it. The Bee and Jupiter by Aesop, published in around about 400 BCE, translated from ancient Greek by V.S. Vernon Jones. A queen bee from Hymettus flew up to Olympus with some fresh honey from the hive as a present to Jupiter, who was so pleased with the gift that he promised to give her anything she liked to ask for. She said she would be very grateful if he would give stings to the bees to kill people who robbed them of their honey. Jupiter was greatly displeased with this request, for he loved mankind. But he had given his word, so he said the stings they should have. The stings he gave them, however, were of such a kind that whenever a bee stings a man, the sting is left in the wound, and the bee dies. The end. So, I guess Jupiter wins again. Well done. Gods 1,000,000, everyone else 0. Yeah, it's crazy. When bees lose their stings, it doesn't just come out nicely. The reason it kills them when they sting is because the sting is attached to their abdomen, and it's just not, like, they haven't evolved. Well, they have evolved very specifically, and it's evolved to the point where when the sting comes out, it actually disembowels them. Like, it literally rips out their guts when it comes out. So it's the most macabre thing to see. Like, you know those YouTube channels that show you up close stuff? I'm sure there's videos out there where you can go and watch that. It is, wow, it's not nice. And speaking of nice tragic things, let's read some Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe, published in 1875 in Scribner's Monthly, Volume 10, Number 5. This is called Alone. From childhood's hour, I have not been as others were. I have not seen as others saw. I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source I have not taken my sorrow. I could not awaken my heart to joy at the same tone. And all I loved alone. Then, in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life, was drawn from every depth of good and ill the mystery which binds me still, from the torrent or the fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun that round me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky as it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm and the cloud that took the form when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view. That was nice. Okay, right. What else have we got? The cobbler turned doctor. Nah, let's not read that. If I go down a bit further, I get out of the poetry and I start getting into... I'm starting to work my way up now. Out of the poetry. A Strange Story by O. Henry. Doesn't say when it's published. Interesting. I'm just going to divert quickly. His full name was William Sidney Porter. He was born in 1862 and he died in 1910. And he writes comedies of human nature. And there's 14 stories on here of his, and it says as of his style, here on the Library of Short Stories, also, you know, it's created by an Australian, well done, whoever it is, I can't remember your name. Very good. O. Henry's works are wholesome and sentimental. They are easy to read, but much can be read into these simple fables. The Last Leaf, for example, is short and straightforward, but it's heavy with emotion and symbolism surrounding death and destiny. His writing has a distinctly American tone, and his settings are often quaint, traditional towns of late 19th and early 20th century America. Although not directed for children, many of his short adventures, such as The Ransom of Red Chief and A Retrieved Reformation, are easily suited for kids. Oh, there's one here called The Gift of the Magi. Okay, don't get confused. Don't get distracted. We're going to read A Strange Story, and it's by O. Henry, and so it'll be turn of the last century kind of time. Let's read it. In the northern part of Austin, there once dwelt an honest family by the name of Smothers. The family consisted of John Smothers, his wife, himself, their little daughter, 5 years of age, and her parents, making 6 people toward the population of the city when counted for a special write-up, but only 3 by actual count. One night after supper, the little girl was seized with a severe colic, and John Smothers hurried downtown to get some medicine. He never came back. The little girl recovered, and in time grew up to womanhood. The mother grieved very much over her husband's disappearance, and it was nearly 3 months before she married again. What? And moved to San Antonio. Sorry, different time, okay? The little girl also married in time, and after a few years had rolled around, she also had a little girl 5 years of age. She still lived in the same house where they dwelt when her father had left and never returned. One night, by a remarkable coincidence, her little girl was taken with cramp colic on the anniversary of the disappearance of John Smothers, who would now have been her grandfather if he had been alive and had a steady job. "I will go downtown and get some medicine for her," said John Smith, for it was none other than he whom she had married. "No, no, dear John," cried his wife. "You too might disappear forever and then forget to come back." So John Smith did not go, and together they sat by the bedside of little Pansy, for that was Pansy's name. After a little, Pansy seemed to grow worse, and John Smith again attempted to go for medicine, but his wife would not let him. Suddenly the door opened, and an old man, stooped and bent, with long white hair, entered the room. "Hello, here is Grandpa," said Pansy. She had recognized him before any of the others. The old man drew a bottle of medicine from his pocket and gave Pansy a spoonful. She got well immediately. "I was a little late," said John Smothers, "as I waited for a streetcar." The end. That is quaint. I love that the whole thing was just winding up for a dad joke at the end. That was the payoff. Oh, I love a dad joke. You want some dad jokes? Okay, here you go. You hear about all those dogs that went missing in the neighborhood? They don't know who did it, but they've got some leads. Okay, what about this one? What do you call a deer with no eyes? No idea. What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef. I'm full of these. Why shouldn't you run in front of a car? Well, you'll get tired. Why shouldn't you run behind a car? Because you'll get exhausted. Guys, I could go all day. Okay. Let's find something else to read. I read this one last night, only a jockey. I read it on the stream last night, and I've been thinking about it again, and it is literally like an anti-immigration piece. I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, it's anti-immigration. Like I think I've done a propaganda. Because because here, this little jockey boy who's this uneducated little piece of white trash by the sounds of it, like me. He's knocked off his horse. It's not funny. But then Banjo Patterson starts addressing the nation, like the country of Australia, as a character. And he goes, "Negroes and foreigners all have a claim on you. Yearly you spend your well-advertised hoard, but the poor jockey boy, shame on you, shame on you. Feed ye, my little ones. What said the Lord? Him ye held less than the outer barbarian, left him to die in his ignorant sin. Have you no principles, humanitarian? Have you no precept? Go gather them in." So they're saying basically take care of your own before you start taking in the foreigners. Does this transcend time? Yes. If you're a One Nation supporter, yes, it does. Not going to go into my political views too much, but I mean, you may have guessed that I am not a One Nation supporter. No, indeed. So there you go. Well, who knows what I'm going to be like in the future, but at this point, I can't see myself being a One Nation supporter. A bush christening lost. Lots of Banjo Patterson around here. around these word count kind of limits. Okay, let's see, what else have we got? In defense of the bush? Go on, let's do another Australian one. Then I get to crack out the accent. Ha ha ha, let's go. All right. This is called In Defense of the Bush by Banjo Paterson. It was published in 1892 in the Bulletin, volume 12, number 649. So you're back up from the country, Mr. Townsman, where you went, and you're cursing all the business in a bit of discontent. Well, we grieve to disappoint you. And it makes us sad to hear that it wasn't cool and shady and there wasn't plenty beer. And the loony bullock snorted when you first came into view. Well, you know it's not so often that he sees a swell like you. That's like a townsman. And the roads were hot and dusty, and the plains were burnt and brown, and no doubt you're better suited drinking lemon squash in town. Yet perchance, if you should journey down the very track you went, in a month or two at furthest, you would wonder what it meant, where the sun-baked earth was gasping like a creature in its pain. You'd find the grasses waving like a field of summer grain, and the miles of thirsty gutters blocked with sand and choked with mud. You'd find the mighty rivers with a turbid sweeping flood. For the rain and drought and sunshine make no changes in the street, in the sullen line of buildings and the ceaseless tramp of feet. But the bush hath moods and changes as the seasons rise and fall, and the men who know the bushland, they are loyal through it all. But you found the bush was dismal, on the land of no delight. Did you chance to hear a chorus in the shearers' huts at night? Did they rise up William Riley by the campfire's cheery blaze? Did they rise him as we rose him in the good old droving days? And the women of the homesteads, and the men you chanced to meet, were their faces sour and saddened like the faces in the street? And the shy selector children, were they better now or worse than the little city urchins who would greet you with a curse? Little Eshays. Is not such a life much better than the squalid street and square, where the fallen women flaunted in the fierce electric glare, where the sempstress plies her sewing till her eyes are sore and red, in a filthy, dirty attic, toiling on for daily bread? Did you hear no sweeter voices in the music of the bush than the roar of trams and buses and the war whoop of the push? Did the magpies rouse your slumbers with their carol, sweet and strange? Did you hear the silver chiming of the bellbirds on the range? But perchance the wild bird's music by your senses was despised, for you say you'll stay in townships till the bush is civilized. Would you make it a tea garden, and on Sundays have a band, where the blokes might take their donors, with a public close at hand? Yeah, you'd better stick to Sydney and make merry with the push, for the bush will never suit you, and you'll never suit the bush. And obviously, the unsung words there are, so go fuck yourself. Go back to the city where you belong, and leave us to do our thing out here. Yeah, as someone from the bush, there is a bush and town divide. Like there's an outback and town divide, that's for sure. I'm just going to read this one because I love this. And boys, I read this to you all the time. Like whenever we get the chance. Mum loves reading it to you too, as in your mum, my wife. Your mother, my wife. Okay, it's called The Man from Ironbark by Banjo Paterson, obviously. Published in 1892 in the Bulletin, volume 12, number 670. And I love this, because it talks more about that bush and town divide, like the country versus the city. Ironbark's a little outback town in the middle of nowhere, right? Just kicking up dust out there. This fella decides to go into the big town one day. It was the man from Ironbark who struck the Sydney town. He wandered over street and park. He wandered up and down. He loitered here, he loitered there, till he was like to drop. Until at last, in sheer despair, he sought a barber's shop. Here, shave me beard and whiskers off. I'll be a man of mark. I'll go and do the Sydney toff up home in Ironbark. The barber man was small and flash, as barbers mostly are. He wore a strike-your-fancy sash. He smoked a huge cigar. He was a humorist of note and keen at repartee. He laid the odds and kept a tote, whatever that may be. And when he saw our friend arrived, he whispered, "Here's a lark. Just watch me catch him alive, this man from Ironbark." There were some gilded youths that sat along the barber's wall. Their eyes were dull, their heads were flat, they had no brains at all. To them the barber passed the wink. His dexter eyelids shut. "I'll make this bloomin' yokel think his bloomin' throat is cut." And as he soaped and rubbed it in, he made a rude remark. "I suppose the flats is pretty green up there in Ironbark." A grunt was all reply he got. He shaved the bushman's chin, then made the water boiling hot and dipped the razor in. He raised his hand, his brow grew black. He paused a while to gloat, then slashed the red-hot razor back across his victim's throat. Upon the newly shaven skin it made a livid mark. No doubt it fairly took him in, the man from Ironbark. He fetched a wild up-country yell, might wake the dead to hear, and through his throat though his throat he knew full well was cut from ear to ear, he struggled gamely to his feet and faced the murderous foe. "You've done for me, you dog! I'm beat. Oh, one hit before I go. I only wish I had a knife, you blessed murdering shark. But you'll remember all your life the man from Ironbark." He lifted up his hairy paw with one tremendous clout. He landed on the barber's jaw and knocked the barber out. He set to work with tooth and nail. He made the place a wreck. He grabbed the nearest gilded youth and tried to break his neck, and all the while his throat he held to save his vital spark, and "Murder, bloody murder!" yelled the man from Ironbark. A peeler man, who heard the din, came in to see the show. He tried to run the bushman in, but he refused to go. And when at last the barber spoke and said, "Oh, 'twas all in fun. 'Twas just a little harmless joke, a trifle overdone." "A joke?" he cried. "By George, that's fine, a lively sort of lark. I'd like to catch that murdering swine some night in Ironbark." And now, while round the shearing floor the listening shearers gape, he tells the story over and over and brags of his escape. "Oh, them barber chaps what keeps a tote? By George, I've had enough. One tried to cut my bloomin' throat, but thank the Lord it's tough." And whether he's believed or no, there's one thing to remark. That flowing beards are all the go way up in Ironbark. It's a classic. Oh, the end. It's a classic. It's an absolute bloody classic. The Man from Ironbark. What a tune. Because they did turn it into a song. It's a good song. It's a good poem. Classic, classic, classic. Right, we're going to move on. Let's find something else to read. I don't know what I'm in the mood for, but I don't think I'm in the mood for something too, I don't know. Let's just start. We're going to record this one. We're actually going to record this one properly. So we'll head over here to the old Audacity. Now we've warmed up the voice on a bit of banjo Patterson. We're going to clear that, and we're going to get straight into recording. Right. Let's do a temperature check. Boop, boop. What is this? Jesus, 33 degrees, 34 degrees, somewhere around there. All right. So it looks like we're in for it. Get straight to it. Right. What have we got here? Hunting the deceitful turkey. Sure, why not? We could do the Frog Prince. We could do a classic Brothers Grimm. We could do a Kate Chopin. We could do that. I mean, what about we just do the Frog Prince? Yeah, go on. I haven't done anything classic like this for a while. All right. Here we go. And, actually, while I'm here, I'll just chuck on some effects. The de-esser, chuck it up to 66. We don't need S's where we're going. Chuck it up to 66. All right, okay, mouth declicker, up to 70. I'm feeling mouth noisy. I've had like 2 coffees to get me this late. Oh yeah, the reason that I'm so late is because older child, I'm talking to you. You're having growing pains tonight. It's actually pretty terrible. You poor thing. You've woken up nearly in the middle of the night, but we're past that now. We've given you some medicine to send you to bed. You have no fever, nothing like that. Let's record this thing. The Frog Prince. Ready? This is official. G'day guys, welcome back to Boring Dad Sleep Stories. Today we're going to read The Frog Prince by the Brothers Grimm. It was published in 1812 in Kinder- und Hausmärchen. Got that wrong. I'm going to read The Frog Prince by the Brothers Grimm. It was published in 1812 in Kinder- und Hausmärchen. Märchen? I'm going to read The Frog Prince by the Brothers Grimm. And this was published in 1812 in Kinder- und Hausmärchen. That is, The Children's and Household Tales, Volume 1. This particular Children's and Household Tales, Volume 1. Boys, love you so much. Let's go. Avanti. One fine evening, a young princess put on her bonnet and clogs and went out to take a walk by herself in the wood. When she came... Young princess put on her bonnet and clogs and went out to take a walk by herself. Young princess put on her bonnet and clogs and went out to take a walk by herself in a wood. And when she came to a cool spring of water that rose in the midst of it, she sat herself down to rest a while. Now she had a golden ball in her hand, which was her favorite plaything, and she was always tossing it up into the air and catching it again as it fell. After a time, she threw it up so high that she missed catching it as it fell, and the ball bounded away and rolled along upon the ground, till at last it fell down into the spring. The princess looked into the spring after her ball, but it was very deep, so deep that she could not see the bottom of it. Then she began to bewail her loss and said, "Oh, lass, if I could only get my ball again, I would give all my fine clothes and jewels and everything that I have in the world." Whilst she was speaking, a frog put its head out of the water and said, "Princess, why do you weep so bitterly?" "Alas," said she, "what can you do for me, you nasty frog? My golden ball has fallen into the spring." The frog said, "I want not your pearls and jewels and fine clothes, but if you will love me and let me live with you and eat from off your golden plate and sleep upon your bed, I will bring you your ball again." "What nonsense," thought the princess. "This silly frog is talking. He can never even..." Okay. "I will bring you your ball again." "What nonsense," thought the princess. "This silly frog is talking. He can never even get out of the spring to visit me, though he may be able to get my ball for me, and therefore I will tell him he shall have what he asks." Nah, she's sneakier than that. "Bring you your ball again." "What nonsense," thought the princess. This silly frog is talking. He can never even get out of the spring to visit me, though he may be able to get my ball for me. And therefore I will tell him he shall have what he asks." So she said to the frog, "Well, if you will bring me my ball, I will do all you ask." Then the frog put his head down and dived deep under the water, and after a little while he came up again with the ball in his mouth and threw it on the edge of the spring. As soon as the young princess saw her ball, she ran to pick it up, and she was so overjoyed to have it in her hand again that she never thought of the frog, but ran home with it as fast as she could. The frog called after her, "Stay, princess, and take me with you, as you said." But she did not stop to hear a word. The next day, just as the princess had sat down to dinner, she heard a strange noise. Tap, tap, plash, plash, as if something was coming up the marble staircase. And soon afterwards, there was a gentle knock at the door, and a little voice cried out and said, "Open the door, my princess dear. Open the door to thy true love here, and mind the words that thou and I said by the fountain cool in the greenwood shade." How's this frog voice going for you? In the greenwood shade. Then the princess ran to the door and opened it, and there she saw the frog, whom she had quite forgotten. At this sight she was sadly frightened, and shuttered the door. In the greenwood shade. Then the princess ran to the door and opened it, and there she saw the frog, whom she had quite forgotten. At this sight she was sadly frightened, and, shutting the door as fast as she could, came back to her seat. The king, her father, seeing that something had frightened her, asked her what was the matter. "There is a nasty frog," said she, "at the door, that lifted my ball out for me at—" "She's a brat," was the matter. "There is a nasty frog," said she, "at the door, that lifted my ball for me out of the spring this morning. I told him that he should live with me here, thinking that he could never get out of the spring, but there he is at the door, and he wants to come in." While she was speaking, the frog knocked again at the door and said, "Open." The frog knocked again at the door and said, "Open the door, my princess dear. Open the door to thy true love here, and mind the words that thou and I said by the fountain cool in the greenwood shade." Then the king said to the young princess, "As you have given your word, you must keep it. So go and let him in." She did so, and the frog hopped into the room, and then straight on, tap, tap, plash, plash, from the bottom of the room to the top, till he came up close to the table where the princess sat. "Pray lift me upon chair," said he to the princess, "and let me sit next to you." As soon as she had done this, the frog said, "Put your plate nearer to me, that I may eat out of it." This she did, and when he had eaten as much as he could, he said, "Now I am tired. Carry me upstairs and put me into your bed." And the princess, though very unwilling, took him up in her hand and put him upon the pillow of her own bed, where he slept all night long. As soon as it was light, he jumped up, hopped downstairs, and went out of the house. "Now then," thought the princess, "at last he is gone, and I shall be troubled with him no more." But she was mistaken, for when night came again, she heard the same tapping at the door, and the frog came once more and said, and Dad burped once more. Sorry. All right, let's go back there. She was mistaken. As soon as it was night, wait, no, she was mistaken. For when night came again, she heard the same tapping at the door, and the frog came once more and said, "Open the door, my princess dear. Open the door to thy true love here, and mind the words that thou and I said by the fountain cool in the greenwood shade." And when the princess opened the door, the frog came in and slept upon her pillow. In the greenwood shade. And when the princess opened the door, the frog came in and slept upon her pillow as before till the morning broke. And the third night he did the same. But when the princess awoke on the following morning, she was astonished to see, instead of the frog, a handsome prince, gazing on her with the most beautiful eyes she'd ever seen, and standing at the head of her bed. Ugh, can you imagine waking up with a complete random stranger in your bed and just being like, "Oh yeah, you're so," I don't know. Anyway. Boys, don't stand at the head of a bed of a girl that you don't know, okay? It's creepy, all right? This is 2026. We don't do that. We don't do that anymore. Especially if you've gone through some, I don't know, metamorphosis from human to frog and frog to human, and you didn't tell her that, like, why didn't you just tell her? Just tell her that you're going to turn into a beautiful prince, right? Just saying. Anyway. Oop. I recorded that accidentally, a little bit of that. Let's not do that.
At the head of her bed.
He told her that he had been enchanted by a spiteful fairy who had changed him into a frog, and that he had been fated so to abide till some princess should take him out of the spring.
Fairy who had changed him into a frog.
And that he had been fated so to abide till some princess should take him out of the spring and let him eat from her plate and sleep upon her bed for 3 nights. You, said the prince, have broken his cruel charm, and now I have nothing to wish for but that you should go with me into my father's kingdom, where I will marry you and love you as long as you live. I'm sorry. Obvious. Yeah, okay, right. It's of the time, right? We get that. Boys, don't ask a girl to marry you that you've just met and who's just turned you from a frog into a human. Oh, actually, I mean, you'd feel pretty grateful. I don't think that's the right way to show your affection for a girl you've just met. Maybe just chat with her for a bit before you just go, will you marry me, love? Yeah? Okay. Look, I know I was a frog like 10 minutes ago, but like, you wanna get married? You wanna just head over to my place? Dad's there. It's his kingdom. You wanna go get married? I don't think that's cool. Anyway, it's just me. It was all the rage back then. Just people marrying transformed frogs left, right, and center. Sorry, I'm in a funny mood tonight. Okay, let's just keep going.
And love you as long as you live.
The young princess, you may be sure, was not long in saying yes to all this. And as they spoke, a gay coach drove up with 8 beautiful horses, decked with plumes of feathers and a golden harness. And behind the coach rode the prince's servant, faithful Heinrich, who had bewailed the misfortunes of his dear master during his enchantment so long and so bitterly that his heart had well nigh burst. Okay, no, so the plot thickens. Okay, Heinrich, obviously in love with the prince. Prince just stringing him along. Obviously, it's his servant, whatever. Just saying, it's his whipping boy. I think the boy might like getting whipped. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just saying, it's fishy. It's fishy. What's going to happen to Heinrich when he realizes that this hussy's moving in that just met the prince? He spent years, what does it say, bewailing the misfortunes of his dear master. Poor Heinrich. That's all I'm saying. He's the real victim of this.
And love you as long as you live.
Oh, whoops. I don't want to get rid of all that.
That his heart had well nigh burst.
They then took leave of the king and got into the coach with 8 horses, and all set out, full of joy and merriment for the prince's kingdom, which they reached safely. And here, no, not here, there.
Which they reached safely.
And there they lived happily a great many years. The end. All right, we're going to save that. We do something a bit different. Oh, I hadn't saved it yet. Oh, crikey. All right, okay. What's it called? The Prince and the Frog Prince. Okay. Let's save that. I'm going to get straight into another recording. I'm feeling fly. I'm feeling hip. I'm just gonna do some bulk recording tonight. I feel like it. So we just did the Frog Prince. This one's 8,000 words. Do I think I have the energy in me? Okay. Maybe I do. Let's give it a crack. Oh, I don't really like it though. Does that matter? I might record it and see what happens. All right. See, I really like the first half of this story, but I'm not a fan of the second half because he's just like, Oh, it's okay. I don't know. Oh, what about this? About Barbers by Mark Twain. It's a classic. I haven't read this in a long time. The other day I did skim through it, but I haven't properly read it in a long time. But after the Man from Ironbark reading we just did before, this kind of fits. This kind of fits the vibe of that as well. 1871. So they were published around-ish the same couple of decades. I mean, a decade feels like a long time when you live in it, but now when we look back, it seems like everyone was loving the Barbers, you know? All right, are we ready? Just going to quickly save this as a new file. Another reason to record a couple of them tonight is because if my voice keeps going the way it is, I am sick. I'm getting a bit ill. Not much, just a little cold. But what might happen is I might have to release them one after the other for a couple of days until I get better. Whew! The great thing about getting sick when you're doing stuff like this is it changes your voice. But if you can work with that, you can actually work with it and record something quite special that usually you couldn't record. One of the Hardy Boys books that I recorded, I think it was the Old Mill, something about the mystery of the Old Mill. I'm sick for like the middle third of that book. And I tell you what, I'm just there being like, Frank walked down the street. You know, I'm just like, I just can't usually get that, the Frankiness. Because in my reading of Frank and Joe, you might have noticed, Joe's up here. Frank is down here. Hello, my name is Frank Hardy. And my name's Joe. And I'm a little breathy. And, everything's just so gosh darn exciting. And I'm grounded. And my name is Frank. I may have a touch of the tism. Everything is very straightforward to me, but I'm also wise beyond the year older that I am than Joe. And I'm Joe, and I'm very wise and brave. I'm nearly as strong as Frank. One day I might be as strong as my big brother. It's just like, I sound a little bit like my mother, and Frank doesn't sound like my mother or my father. Frank is an oddity. That's like my rendition of the Hardy Boys. And I settled on that version of them about halfway through the first book that I recorded, which is actually number like 8 in the series. What was it? The Cabin Island, The Mystery of Cabin Island or something like that. Yeah, which is like coincidentally the most popular. It's got the most views on this channel at this point. It's pretty interesting that that's the most views. And like halfway through, I just changed the voices of the boys. I changed character voices through these books all the time because I'm reading raw most of the time. Anyway, let's read about barbers. This is kind of fun. I know a barber like this in our local area. Like, I know this guy. I think we've all had a hairdresser like this at some point in the past. Maybe that's your hairdresser now. Maybe you are that hairdresser. If you're a hairdresser or a barber in particular, just know that this is what some people think of you. Like, I'm just saying, and they might be some of your most faithful customers, and they might be really nice to you. And it's not your fault. Maybe it's just a mismatch. It's a mismatch of personality and style. The usual, right? Like 2 ships passing in the barber's shop night. I don't know. Okay. Let's record this. G'day guys, welcome back to Boring Dad Sleep Stories. Today we're reading About Barbers by Mark Twain, published in 1871. Love you boys. So much. Avanti. All things change except barbers, the ways of barbers, and the surroundings of barbers. These will never change. What one experiences in a barber's shop the first time he enters... Oh, wait. I think that's, like, what am I reading this as? Like, it's like a funeral or something.
Avanti.
All things change, except barbers, the ways of barbers, and the surroundings of barbers. These never change. What one experiences in a barber's shop the first time he enters one is what he always experiences in barber's shops afterward, till the end of his days. I got shaved this morning, as usual. A man approached the door from Jones Street as I approached it from Main. a thing that always happens. I hurried up, but it was of no use. He entered the door one little step ahead of me, and I followed in on his heels and saw him take the only vacant chair, the one presided over by the best barber. It always happens so. I sat down, hoping that I might fall heir to the chair belonging to the better of the remaining two barbers, for he had already begun combing his man's hair, while his comrade was not yet quite done rubbing up and oiling his customer's locks. I watched the probabilities with strong interest. When I saw that number 2 was gaining on number 1, my interest grew to solicitude. When number 1 stopped a moment to make...
I watched the probabilities with strong interest. Rubbing up and oiling his customer's locks.
I watched... Where am I up to? I'm done. Where am I up to? I sat down hoping that I might fall heir to the chair. I think that's my quote. Hoping that I might fall heir to the chair. I love that. That's so good. Wow, this Mark Twain guy is actually pretty good. I hope he takes off. I hope he becomes popular one day. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Rubbing up and oiling his customer's locks.
I watched the probabilities with strong interest. When I saw that number 2 was gaining on number 1, my interest grew to solicitude. When number 1 stopped a moment to make change on a bath ticket for a newcomer and lost ground in the race, my solicitude rose to anxiety. When number 1 caught up again, and both he and his comrade were pulling the towels away and brushing the powder from their customers' cheeks, and it was about an even thing, which one would say next, first, my very breath stood still with the suspense. But when at the culminating moment number 1 stepped across...
My very breath stood still with the suspense.
But when at the culminating moment number 1 stopped to pass a comb a couple of times through his customer's eyebrows, I saw that he had lost the race by a single instant. And I rose, indignant, and quitted the shop to keep from falling into the hands of number 2. I have none of that enviable firmness that enables a man to look calmly into the eyes of a waiting barber and tell him he will wait for his fellow barber's chair. I stayed out 15 minutes and then went back, hoping for better luck. Of course, all the chairs were occupied now, and 4 men sat waiting, silent, unsociable, distraught, and looking bored, as men always do who are waiting their turn in a barber's shop. I sat down in one of the iron-armed compartments of an old sofa and put in the time for a while, reading the framed advertisements of all sorts of quick... Why is my mouse not working? Okay, there we go. That's probably why.
There's do who are waiting their turn in a barber's shop. There's do who are waiting their turn in a barber's shop.
I sat down in one of the iron-armed compartments of an old sofa and put in the time for a while, reading the framed advertisements of all sorts of quack nostrums for dyeing and colouring the hair. Then I read the greasy names on the private bay rum bottles, read the names and noted the numbers on the private shaving cups in the pigeonholes, studied the stained and damaged cheap prints on the walls of battles, early presidents, and voluptuous recumbent sultanas, and the tiresome and everlasting young girl putting her grandfather's spectacles on. Execrated in my heart, the cheerful canary and the distracting parrot that few barbers' shops are without. Finally, I searched out the last dilapidated
parrot that few barbers' shops are without.
And finally, I searched out the least dilapidated.
Shops are without.
And finally, I searched out the least dilapidated of last year's illustrated papers that littered the foul center table and conned their unjustifiable misrepresentations of old, forgotten events. At last, my turn came. A voice said, "Next!" And I surrendered to number 2. Of course. It always happens so. I said, meekly, that I was in a hurry, and All right, let's go.
It always happens so.
I said meekly that I was in a hurry, and it affected him as strongly as if he had never heard it. He shoved up my head and put a napkin under it. He plowed his fingers into my collar and fixed a towel there. He explored my hair with his claws and suggested that it needed trimming. I said I did not want it trimmed. He explored again and said it was pretty long for the present style, better have a little taken off. It needed it behind especially. I said I had had it cut only a week before. He yearned over it reflectively a moment, and then asked with a disparaging manner, who cut it? I came back at him promptly with a, "You did." I had him there. Then he fell to stirring up his lather and regarding himself in the glass, stopping now and then to get close and examine his chin critically or inspect a pimple. Then he lathered one side of my face thoroughly and was about to lather the other when a dogfight attracted his attention, and he ran to the window and stayed and saw it out, losing 2 shillings on the result in bets with the other barbers, a thing which gave me great satisfaction. He finished lathering and then began to rub in the suds with his hand. He now began to sharpen his razor on an old suspender, and was delayed a good deal on account of a controversy. Controversy? Why can't I speak? He now began to sharpen his razor on an old suspender, and was delayed a good deal on account of a controversy about a cheap masquerade ball he had figured at the night before. Come on, man. He now began to sharpen his razor on an old suspender, and was delayed a good deal on account of a controversy about a cheap masquerade ball he had figured out the night before in red cambric and bogus ermine. Ermine, damn it.
To rub in the suds with his hand.
He now began to sharpen his razor on an old suspender, and was delayed a good deal on account of a controversy about a cheap masquerade ball he had figured out the night before in red cambric and bogus ermine. As some kind of a king, he was so gratified with being chaffed about some dancel. Gosh.
A king.
He was so gratified with being chaffed about some damsel whom he had smitten with his charms that he used every means to continue the controversy by pretending to be annoyed at the chaffings of his fellows. This matter begot more surveyings of himself in the glass, and he put down his razor and brushed his hair. Oh, man. The glory days are over. I'm sick.
Some kind of a king.
He was so gratified with being chaffed about some damsel whom he had smitten with his charms that he used every means to continue the controversy by pretending to be annoyed at the chaffings of his fellows. This matter begot more surveyings of himself in the glass, and he put down his razor and brushed his hair with elaborate care, plastering in an inverted...
Matter begot more surveyings of himself in the glass.
And he put down his razor and brushed his hair with elaborate care, plastering an inverted arch of it down on his forehead, accomplishing an accurate part behind, and brushing the 2 wings forward over his ears. Oh, my God.
Matter begot more surveyings of himself in the glass.
Sorry, that was just like the table clicking. This is called the clicking table. This little table where I have my keyboard and the audio interface and my phone and the speakers and the remote control. It just did it again. I swear to God, it just did it again. I'm just saying, this thing's out to get me.
Matter begot more surveyings of himself in the glass.
And now I've lost my place. Oh, there we go.
More surveyings of himself in the glass.
And he put down his razor and brushed his hair with elaborate care, plastering.
Matter begot more surveyings of himself in the glass.
And he put down his razor and brushed his hair with elaborate care, plastering an inverted arch of it down on his forehead, accomplishing an accurate part behind, and brushing the 2 wings forward over his ears with nice exactness. In the meantime, the lather was drying on my face and apparently eating into my vitals. Now he began to shave, digging his fingers into my countenance to stretch the skin, and bundling and tumbling my head this way and that as convenience in shaving demanded. As long as he was on the tough sides of my face, I did not suffer. But when he began to rake and rip and tug at my chin, the tears came. He now made a handle of my nose to assist him shaving the corners of my upper lip, and it was by this bit of circumstantial evidence that I discovered that a part of his duties in the shop was to clean the kerosene lamps. Ugh. I'd often wondered in an indolent way, indolent?
The kerosene lamps.
I'd often wondered in an indolent way whether the barbers did that or whether it was the boss. About this time, I was amusing myself, trying to guess where he would be most likely to cut me this time. But he got ahead of me and sliced me on the end of the chin before I had got my mind made up. He immediately sharpened his razor. He might have done it before. I did not like a close shave and would not let him go over me a second time. I tried to get him to put up his razor, dreading that he would make for the side of my chin, my pet tender spot, a place which a razor cannot touch twice without making trouble. But he said he only wanted to just smooth off one little roughness. And in the same moment, he slipped his razor along the forbidden ground, and the dreaded pimple signs of a close shave close shave? It's not a chaise longue.
Smooth off one little roughness.
And in the same moment, he slipped his razor along the forbidden ground, and the dreaded pimple signs of a close shave rose up smarting and answered to the call. Now he soaked his towel in bay rum and slapped it all over my face nastily, slapped it over it as if... slapped it over.
And answered to the call. And answered to the call.
Now he soaked his towel in bay rum, slapped...
And answered to the call.
Now he slapped... Oh, no. Oh, it's nearly done. This is fun. This is fun, though. Oh, hang on, I got a notification. Huh. Cool. Interesting comment. It's actually a comment from a subscriber, who's someone I subscribe to. Talking of book talk, or not book talk, booktube. Book talk is a thing, isn't it, on TikTok? I don't know. I'm not on TikTok in any capacity. I'm actually quite proud of that. But yeah, I got a comment from Read Weird Stuff with Me. That's Marissa, and she's commenting on Beware the Dog, which was our story from last night, which is cool. Thanks for commenting, Marissa. If you ever watch this, which I don't know if you are or will. And she's talking about, yeah, she loves Roald Dahl, or she likes Roald Dahl. She's never read that story, which is cool. I like to introduce people to new stuff, which is great, including you boys, who this channel is actually for, obviously. Remind you for the 1000th time, this is for you. Yeah, but she's disappointed in the racist legacy that he left, and I also feel that way about Roald Dahl. As like I said last night, I kind of conflated him in a weird way with my dad. Like, not going to be like daddy issue central. We're not going to talk about that tonight. But like, he definitely, like, because he was a similar age to my dad, a bit older, but yeah. And I just loved his books so much. It was a big shame to wake up as a grown up and realize that he was a little bit muddier a character, but like, once again, like, he was also a veteran with possible PTSD. Like, you know, like, not even probably possible, but yeah, it's just so conflicting. And she's saying that there's another person who's done a video on Roald Dahl's legacy, and that I should check it out. It's another book channel or another reading channel, so maybe I should check that out. Thanks, Marissa. Cheers. Always appreciate it. Building my knowledge of the literary world in which we find ourselves on this channel.
answered to the call.
And answered to the call. What am I up to here? Oh, yeah, here we go.
And answered to
To
the
the call.
call.
Now, he soaked his towel in bay rum and slapped it all over my face nastily. Slapped it over as if a human being ever yet washed his face in that way. And then he dried it by slapping with the dry part of the towel. I don't like how I just read that. Let's do that again.
And answered to the call.
Now he soaked his towel in bay rum and slapped it all over my face nastily. Slapped it over as if a human being ever yet washed his face in that way. Then he dried it by slapping with the dry part of the towel, as if a human being ever dried his face in such a fashion, but a barber seldom rubs you like a Christian. Next, he poked bay rum into the cut place with his towel, then choked the wound with powdered starch, then soaked it with bay rum again, and would have gone on soaking and powdering it forever more, no doubt, if I had not rebelled and begged off. He powdered my whole face now, straightened me up, and began to plough my hair thoughtfully with his hands. Then he suggested a shampoo, and said my hair needed it badly, very badly. I observed that I shampooed it myself very thoroughly in the bath yesterday. I had him again. He next recommended some of Smith's Hair Glorifier, and offered to sell me a bottle. I declined. He praised the new perfume, Joan's Delight of the Toilet, and proposed to sell me some of that. I declined again. He rendered...
Some of that. I declined again.
He tendered me a toothwash atrocity of his own invention, and when I declined, offered to trade knives with me. He returned to business after the miscarriage of this last enterprise, sprinkled me all over, legs and all, greased my hair in defiance of my protest against it, rubbed and scrubbed a good deal of it out, but... This guy's a piece of work. Sorry, I can't believe what I'm reading sometimes.
When I declined, offered to trade knives with me.
He returned to business after the miscarriage of this last enterprise, sprinkled me all over, legs and all, greased my hair in defiance of my protest against it, rubbed and scrubbed a good deal of it out by the roots, and combed and brushed the rest, parting it behind and plastering the eternal inverted arch of hair down on my forehead. And then, while combing my scant eyebrows and defiling them with pomade? It's pomade, isn't it?
Arch of hair down on my forehead.
And then, while combing my scant eyebrows and defiling them with pomade, strung out an account of the achievements of a 6-ounce black and tan terrier of his, till I heard the whistles blow for noon. And I knew I was 5 minutes too late for the train. Then he snatched away the towel, brushed it lightly about my face, passed his... Pardon me. All right.
Inverted arch of hair down on my forehead.
Then he...
Inverted arch of hair down on my forehead.
And then, while combing my scant eyebrows and defiling them with pomade, strung out an account of the achievements of a 6-ounce black and tan terrier of his, till I heard the whistles blow for noon, and I knew I was 5 minutes too late for the train. Then he snatched away the towel, brushed it lightly about my face, passed his comb through my eyebrows once more, and gaily sang out, "Next!" This barber fell down and died of apoplexy 2 hours later. I'm waiting over a day for my revenge.
Barber fell down and died of apoplexy.
2 hours later. I'm waiting over a day for my revenge. I'm going to attend his funeral.
Apoplexy.
2
hours later.
I am waiting over a day for my revenge. I'm going to attend his funeral.
Apoplexy.
The clicky table.
Hours later.
I'm waiting over a day for my revenge. I am going to attend his funeral.
I am going to attend his funeral.
The end. Righto, save that. Bada bing, bada boom. And Control All, clear it off. We're going to do one more. I think I have time for one more. Then we'll upload one of them. Actually, I did hear that there was a Canadian site called The Faded Page. The Faded Page? Fadedpage.com. An archive of free ebooks forever. I like a webpage that brags about that. That's good. Hey, I'm going to bookmark this. I heard about this from another page. I think it might have even been Genre Books again. Very cool. Very cool. All right. The Parson of Panamint and... Oh! Sorry. I start making those kind of sounds when I'm feeling particularly tired, sick, or just fed up with the world. You know, reaching for stuff. You know, stuff like that. I'm sure you guys have heard me make those sounds a lot. I didn't used to make those sounds. The Red Pony by John Steinbeck. Ooh, very good. From 1945. Wait, are we allowed to read these things? See, I definitely have... I definitely have an advantage over American copyright stuff, I think. But because I don't think we have to wait 95 years for it to be public domain. And I know there are other conditions as well around it, but like, does that mean I have to... How does public domain work, bro? Anyway. Let's see. Short stories, fiction, short stories. Right. Okay. Short stories. Let's see what they've got for us. Oh, wow. They've got pages as well. Wow. Can you filter out for pages? No, you can't filter out. What's that all about? Okay. Ghost stories. A question of time, ups and downs. So this is Christmas and other Christmas stories. Nice. The Shallow End. The Woman Who Stole Everything. Was one of the most... Enoch, this is written by Arnold Bennett, sorry. Enoch Arnold Bennett, always known as Arnold Bennett, was one of the most remarkable literary figures of his time, a product of the English potteries that he made famous as the Five Towns. Yet he could hardly wait to escape his hometown, and he did so by the sheer force of his ambition to succeed as an author. In his time he turned his hand to every kind of writing, but he will be remembered for such novels as The Old Wives' Tale, the Clayhanger trilogy, Clayhanger, Hilda Lessways, and These Twain, and The Card. He also wrote such intriguing self-improvement books as Literary Taste, How to Live On, 24 Hours a Day, The Human Machine, etc. A number of biographies have appeared over the years, and I suggest that Margaret Drabble's is probably the best. Yeah, cool. Nice. Okay. Let's see. We'll just open the HTML. The Woman Who Stole Everything and Other Stories by Arnold Bennett. La 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 la. Looks like first published 1927. This version looks like it was printed in Great Britain and published in February 1929. So we should be fine. The Woman Who Stole Everything is a very long book. That's all I'm saying. Like, there's multiple chapters here for that, and I don't have the time for that tonight. It sounds good, though. Time to Think. There's one here called A Very Romantic Affair. How long is this? Yeah, it's not too long. Hey, I can actually do a word count on this. Let's find out. All right. Okay. The fact that it's named A Very Romantic Affair tells me that it's possibly satire. It's 6,000 words. It's a long time. Okay. Maybe... Yeah, go on. Let's give it a go. Okay, right. I'm going to read... Oh, God. No! Oh, guys. I've just deleted the last audiobook. Oh, no. Mark Twain, forgive me. What did I just read? Oh, God. No. I've just read this, About Barbers by Mark Twain. It's only 1,500 words. I'm not going to read it again tonight. I can't do that to myself. I can't do that to you, boys. I'm not going to make you listen to that twice in one night. Anyway, so, okay, right, we'll do that another day. But in the meantime, oh, no. All right. Okay, moving on with our life. Let's move on with our life. All right. Just processing. I just saved a blank file here in Audacity in the recording program. I recorded a blank file over the top of the old file. Okay, I'm going to breathe 2 more times and then I'm just going to move on with my life. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm going to save this now. I mean, what's the point? As a very romantic affair. Oh my God. Okay. That's actually the first time I've ever done that. I think that might be the first time I've ever saved an entire project away. Anyway, let's move on with our life. Okay, 6,800 words. I'm just going to read myself into oblivion. Where did it go? There we go. No. Where is it? A Very Romantic Affair by... I can't remember who it is. I'm just going to read it and then do the intro afterwards. Okay, let's do this. It was the Saturday... Oh, wait. I'm so thrown off by that. Okay. All right. Let's go, buddy. 1. It was the Saturday before the August bank holiday, and Beach Street, the principal shopping thoroughfare of the great and justly popular resort of Rustinger, was overrun with crowds, throngs, and multitudes of visitors. Rustinger, whose prosperity was founded upon a broad, smooth, sandy beach 2 miles long, had come into prominence in the 50s of the 19th century. And with all its...
Had come into prominence in the 50s of the 19th century.
And with all its popularity, it had maintained its mid-Victorian architectural character. A dingy, stuccoed town where everything was cheap, it appealed to parents with more children than money. Admittedly, it had defects, but its answer to all accusations was that its unsurpassable beach was a paradise for the little ones and tiny tots. 91% of its clients traveled to its third class and What? Oh, third class as in the train. Right, okay.
Paradise for the little ones and tiny tots.
91% of its clients traveled to it third class and stayed in boarding houses or took rooms where they boarded for themselves. Hotels were few, and restaurants almost non-existent. The shops in Beach Street lacked grandeur and display, but they were full of customers, women who knew the difference between 5 pence and 6. Sorry. This is my kind of holiday town.
Almost non-existent.
The shops in Beach Street lacked grandeur and display, but they were full of customers, women who knew the difference between 5 pence and 6 pence. Why can't I read that? Okay, moving on.
Grandeur and display, but they were full of customers.
Women who knew the difference between 5p and 6p a pound, who wore imitation silk stockings and imitation leather shoes and imitation jewellery, save the wedding ring, which was invariably of genuine gold. The sidewalks of Beach Street were embarrassed with many perambulators and their pushers and their escorts, and also with young men and young girls, effectively, if cheaply, dressed, who were obviously determined in due course to have weddings and perambulators of their own. Nothing smart, nothing fashionable to the aristocratic or the plutocratic, but to the average Rustinger visitor who knew no better, all was smart and fashionable. Okay, I mean, why don't they just say Blackpool? You know, because this is Blackpool. Or actually, I used to live on the Isle of Wight in England, on the south coast. Now, what was that town called? Shanklin? Shanklin? Was it Shanklin? Shanklin is it's basically mini Blackpool. Anyway, this reminds me of it a lot. I love it. I love going to places like this. It's great. I'm common.
All was smart and fashionable. All was smart
Here we go.
and fashionable.
The roadway of Beach Street was embarrassed in its turn with a welter of huge charabancs. How do I say that? What is a what the heck is that? Let's look it up. Right. A type of horse-drawn vehicle and an early motor coach, usually open-topped. How do I say it? Can I look up a video of it? Here we go. Charabanc. How do I pronounce charabanc? I bet this is going to be some stupid AI voice. How do I pronounce charabanc? Charabanc. What word am I saying? Here we go. Let's try. Let's try.
Charabanc.
Oh. Charabanc. Go on.
Charabanc.
Charabanc. I can't say that. I'm Australian. Give me some real pronoun. I can't do this. I'm going to give it a go, but don't expect too much.
Smart and fashionable.
The roadway of Beach Street was embarrassed in its turn with a welter of huge charabancs, small motor cars, sidecar combinations, motorcycles, and a few plain foot-driven bicycles. For the progress of civilization had been such that even at Rustinger the majority of pleasure seekers were quite used to moving to and fro by means of petrol. At the point where a high road crossed the beach,
Used to moving to and fro by means of petrol.
At the point where a high road crossed Beach Street, wide line.
Used to moving to and fro by means of petrol.
At the point where a high road crossed Beach Street, white lines to direct drivers had been painted on the tarred macadam. How do I say macadam? Wow, this serves me right for a durable road construction method developed by John Loudon McAdam around 1820 using compacted layers of small broken stone to create a slightly convex surface for drainage, commonly used today in modern asphalt paving, often termed tarmac. So this is the original tarmac for its durability, lower cost, and effective drainage capacity. How do I pronounce it, though? Of course, it was designed by a Scottish engineer. Everything good is, usually. I've noticed, from before a certain time anyway, especially. Okay, what is this, though? Okay, maybe I can look it up on Wikipedia and maybe it will give me the pronunciation. Oh! It's named after McAdam. Whoa! Okay, so it's the crushed stone, which is McAdam, named after John Loudon McAdam, so it's called macadam. And if you added tar to that, then that would be tar macadam. Tarmac. Oh my God, that blows my fucking mind. I love learning stuff like that. That is a cool little factoid. Take that with you. Tell someone today. Point at the road. Tell them. That's pretty cool. Okay, I'm glad.
Drivers had been painted on the tarred macadam.
Not macadam. I was thinking macadamia. The nuts.
Quite used to moving to and fro by means of petrol.
At the point where a high road crossed Beach Street, white lines to direct drivers had been painted on the tarred macadam. Now I can't say it.
Moving to and fro by means of petrol.
At the point where a high road crossed Beach Street.
Quite used to moving to and fro by means of petrol.
At the point where a high road crossed Beach Street, white lines to direct drivers had been painted on the tarred macadam. Why can't I say this? Macadam. Macadam.
Quite used to moving
Macadam.
to and fro by means of petrol.
At the point where a high road crossed Beach Street, white lines to direct drivers had been painted on the tarred macadam.
At the point where a high road crossed Beach Street.
I've just lost it
Point where a
now.
high road
Lost
crossed
it.
Beach Street.
White lines, I can't do it. Oh, I'm still reeling from the last 15 minutes. I deleted a whole half hour's effort, and now I can't pronounce macadam.
Quite used to moving to and fro by means of petrol.
At the point where a high road
Quite used to moving to and fro by means of petrol.
Okay.
Quite used to moving
Okay, get it
to and
together.
fro by means of petrol.
At the point where a high road crossed Beach Street, white lines to direct drivers had been painted on the tarred macadam according to the London method, and the entire movement of wheels was under the control of a policeman who wore white sleevelets according to the London method.
Quite used to moving to
What?
and fro by means of petrol.
At the point where a high road crossed Beach Street, white lines to direct drivers had been painted on the tarred macadam according to the London method, and the entire movement of wheels was under the control of a policeman who wore white sleevelets according to the London method. This policeman's job was very difficult and very responsible, and he knew it, for a full half of the drivers were acutely inexperienced and, without being in the least aware of it, were indeed little better than potential killers and maimers and breakers of limbs. Sometimes they would manage to assassinate even themselves. The august and omnipotent policeman, by the means... Jesus, this looks... Okay, I can already see this is going to be about women being bad drivers. Boys, just so you know, I'm not a very good driver. Your mum is a very good driver. She's a better driver than me.
And they would manage to
Evidence has
assassinate
pointed that out.
themselves.
The august and omnipotent policeman, by means of his white-ended right arm, was holding up all the wheeled traffic in Beach Street in order to allow across...
They would manage to assassinate even themselves.
The august and omnipotent policeman, by means of his white-ended right arm, was holding up all the wheeled traffic in Beach Street in order to allow cross-traffic to pass. A youngish man, rather fat, indeed fat, stood on one side of Beach Street, and he desired to get over to the other side, but the vehicles awaiting the fall of the arm of the law were packed so close together that he hesitated to insinuate himself into the press. At last, however, he found a space of 18 inches between two motor cars and stepped into it, only to be prevented from further progress by a van whose driver was creeping up every foot he could steal. There stood the fat young man, eyed with undisguised interest by all the young women in all the stationary cars. For the young man, though fat, was obviously differentiated from the ruck of these seaside males by his distinguished attire and his distinguished bearing. The humble persons who gazed upon him wondered what he could be doing in a place like Rustinger, but the young man showed no self-consciousness. All the young women who saw him compared him with their own young men, to the serious disadvantage of the latter. They felt themselves capable of any sacrifice if only they could lean, rightfully, on the arm of just such a young man, despite his girth, and talk to him in low tones on the pier by moonlight. Boys, obviously this is misogynistic. Women can be gold diggers just as much as men can be gold diggers, okay? So just remember that. Gold digging is an equal opportunities game, okay? This story is characterizing women as the ones who are the gold diggers. And if you don't know what a gold digger is yet, go look it up. There is a very famous song about it. It's very good. It's got a lot of swear words in it. Okay, moving on.
Low tones on the pier by moonlight.
The policeman's arm fell. The young man, seeking in vain an opportunity to dash, did not stir. He was safe from the car behind him, which dare not run into him, and he was of course safe from the vehicle in front of him. But in motor traffic there is and can be no of course. Pardon me, that's your dad burping.
Safe from the vehicle in front of him.
But in motor traffic,
Safe from the vehicle in front of him.
But in motor traffic there is and can be no of course. The car in front of him backed instead of going forward. It was a small car and a cheap car. Even the smallest and cheapest car, however, when colliding with the human body, is very ruthless and unyielding. The girl driver gave one "oh" of surprise and instantly corrected her mistake. But if the But the elegant, fat young man by that time was lying in the road, and oh, guys, guess what? I know. Oh, this is so annoying. Can I might be able to recover. I just figured out a way. While I'm reading, I'm actually sometimes thinking about completely different stuff. I'm going to copy this into a new file. Haha. I'm going to try and recover the old one by just literally going undo, 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 undo. Okay, so to do that, okay, I'll know because it'll be like longer, right? So I'll just keep going like this. Control Z. Yep, I see it disappearing. It's disappearing. It's disappearing. It's disappearing. Oh wait, what have we got here?
The lather was dry.
Yeah, this is it. Ha 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 ha. Okay, sorry. Control Y.
Plastering the
Control Y.
next. His funeral. The end.
Yes! Yes. Recovered. So it wasn't half an hour of work. Maybe it wasn't. Okay, right. We are going to save this as... what's it called again? The Barber? About Barbers. That's the one. Oh, it doesn't want me to use that. Don't care. Saving it as About Barbers 2. Or new About Barbers. No, I'll say new. No, I'll say About Barbers new. Okay, right. We did it. We did it, fellas. All right. Ah, that's a win. I've regained some lost property. That one's going to go viral, guys. That's going to get at least 3 clicks. So, like, totally worth all that heartache. Okay, right. Let's get that out of the way. And then this one is going to be called A Very Romantic Affair, which we'll put over... where? We're going to save this now. And it's going to be called A Very Romantic Affair, new. And then we'll go to the end.
Time was lying in the road.
Okay, yeah, and now we're back to where we were. Amazing. We did it, fellas. We did it.
Prize, and instantly corrected her mistake. Prize, and instantly corrected her mistake.
But the elegant, fat young man by that time was lying in the road. And in a moment, crowds of people were all around him, and other people were standing up in cars to see him, and the entire traffic was once more immobilized. The girl driver of the deadly car blushed red, knowing that her sex was against her. If a man had depressed the wrong foot pedal and put the car into reverse gear, nobody would have thought twice about him. Accidents will happen, but because the offending driver was a woman, and not a beautiful woman nor a smart woman, every man in the vicinity was either saying, actually, this is not... It's sticking up for the old women, actually. It's not as bad as I thought it could be. It's not, I mean, it's very self-aware text. Let's just put it that way.
Because the offending driver was a woman.
And not a beautiful... Clicky table!
The offending driver was a woman.
And not a beautiful woman nor a smart woman. Every man in the vicinity was saying either aloud or to himself, Ah, these women chauffeurs, why are they allowed? Etc. The policeman pushed through the crowd like a steamroller and became something between a deity and a prosecuting counsel. All the surrounding persons who had been in a hurry were no longer in a hurry, and all felt that a bit of luck had fallen their way. The young man, white as a woman,
Between a deity and a prosecuting counsel. Between a deity and a prosecuting counsel.
all the surrounding persons who had been in a hurry were no longer in a hurry, and all felt that a bit of luck had fallen their way. The young man, white as the woman was scarlet, had fainted for a moment, but he... Clicky table. Okay, maybe it's something to do with the humidity and the heat. I don't know. I think it's time for a new table. What do you think? It's like a very modular type thing. I bought it off like Amazon or something, but it's like you can adjust the height. But maybe I don't need that. Maybe I should just make my own table. Put the wheels on myself. It's interesting. It's useful. It has the wheels. I can kind of wheel it around, but it's not very useful at the moment. It's just clicking at me. All right, okay. It's late. I'm sick.
That a bit of luck had fallen their way.
The young man, white as the woman was scarlet, had fainted for a moment, but he very quickly recovered. Clearly one of his legs was broken. A doctor magically appeared, as doctors will. The doctor said to the young man after examining him, "Would you prefer to go to the town hospital or to a nursing home? Rather a good nursing home." The young man weakly nodded in favor of the nursing home. "I must trouble you for your name and address." How's the policeman going to sound? We're going to go stereotypical ye olde policeman? Let's see.
In favor of the nursing home.
"I must trouble you for your name and address, sir," said the policeman, notebook in hand, after the young man had been lifted into the offending car whose occupants, except the wicked driver, had been turned out of it. Part of the wicked driver's punishment was that she should be compelled by the policeman to drive her victim to the nursing home. The victim made no reply to the policeman's respectful request. The policeman, still more respectfully, repeated his request.
No reply to the policeman's respectful request.
The policeman, still more respectfully, repeated his request. "Arthur Beechcroft," answered the young man. "90 Piccadilly, London." Then he shut his eyes and sighed. The doctor, sitting next to him, signaled to the policeman that his patient...
Then he shut
I'm
his
cooked.
eyes and sighed.
The doctor, sitting next to him, signaled to the policeman that his patient must be spared further inquiry for the present. The car moved forward, very gingerly. All other cars made room for it. The crowd dissipated itself, and hundreds of individuals went about proudly describing the unique accident which they had witnessed with their very own eyes. Now,
Then he shut his eyes and sighed.
the doctor, sitting next to him, signaled to the policeman that his patient must be spared further inquiry for the present. The car moved forward, very gingerly. All other cars made room for it. The crowd dissipated itself, and hundreds of individuals went about proudly describing the unique accident which they had witnessed with their very own eyes. 2. "It's you." It's supposed to be a lady nurse, and I'm starting it out like this.
2.
I'm going to make her nasally. Sorry. I can make another... I promise. I'll make a woman nasally, but I'm also going to make a man nasally as well, okay?
2.
"It's you who are the queer man to be giving a false name to the police yesterday afternoon, Mr. Purfill?" These opening words from the young and lively dark-eyed nurse as she came on duty at 8 o'clock in the morning gravely disturbed the owner of the broken leg. He had passed such a night as one is liable to pass in a well-run nursing home. The limb had been admirably set, and the nurse had done her work admirably and in a light-hearted way, sympathetically. I read that all wrong.
Gravely disturbed the owner of the broken leg.
And
Gravely disturbed
the owner of the broken leg. He had passed such a night as one is liable to pass in a well-run nursing home. The limb had been admirably set, and the nurse had done her work admirably and in a light-hearted way, sympathetically. And the nurse had finally gone off duty. And then the patient had become aware that a bell was installed on the landing outside his door, as a bell always is installed in a well-run nursing home, and that this bell functioned irregularly and often. It seemed to be connected with thousands of bedrooms, all of whose.
Bell functioned irregularly and often.
It seemed to be connected with thousands of bedrooms, all of whose occupants wanted something urgently. The patient began to be hungry, and there was nothing to eat, and the blind rattled, and when he switched on the electric lamp, its crude ray dazed his eyes. In the end, he had the audacity to ring the bell himself, and it emphatically did ring. In 20 minutes, he had made the bell ring emphatically 3 times. At the end of 30 minutes, the night nurse entered and inquired with sympathetic and yet warning blandness, "Did you ring?" When the patient confessed hunger, the air of the night nurse indicated an exquisite and sympathetic divine discontent. She regretted that the kitchen was closed. However, she accorded biscuits, and to stop the blind from rattling, she shut the window. It was ingenious of her, but drastic. Also, she gave the patient aspirin and reassured him that he could not fail to sleep. He did sleep between 5 and 5:30. The night nurse wakened him by coming in to see how he was getting on. Most kind of her. She generously brought him a cup of tea, which, at an earlier period of its existence, had probably been hot, but was now merely strong. When he answered her question about sleep, she said first that people always slept more than they thought they did, and second, that people could scarcely expect to sleep their first night in a strange bed, especially with a leg in splints, upon which remark she went off to administer similar comfort to other patients. She's a real piece of work. All right, I love her. All right, let's keep going.
Comfort to other patients.
So that by 7 o'clock, the patient was living for one event only: the arrival of his bright, vivacious Irish nurse. These two had grown very friendly indeed during the previous afternoon and evening. The hour between 7 and 8 comprised some 660 minutes, and then in bursts his old and valued friend, the Irish girl, with her... Oh no, Bugger. She's Irish, and I'm supposed to do I can't do Irish accents. Maybe I'm just going to use my accent, and like I'm married to an Irish person, but it's not that kind of Irish. It's a different kind of Irish accent. So, and every time I do your mum's Irish accent, she doesn't want me. It's not a good accent. So, let's not do it. Okay.
His old and valued friend, the Irish girl with her...
I'm going to have to do that. No, I'm going to keep her nasally and Australian.
Irish nurse.
Oh shit, where am I? Here we go. These two.
Vivacious Irish nurse.
These two had grown very friendly indeed during the previous afternoon and evening. The hour between 6 and 8 comprised some 660 minutes. And then in burst his old and valued friend, the Irish girl, with her, "It's you who are the queer man to be giving a false name to the police, Mr. Purfill?" Somehow she knew his real name. Perhaps the night nurse had known it too, and the knowledge would explain the extraordinary fortitude with which the latter had borne his infelicities. No wonder that the patient was... No wonder that... Let's keep going.
The latter had borne his infelicities.
No wonder that the patient was gravely disturbed. His fractured leg became an affair of secondary importance. He felt like a criminal detected. "Didn't I give the right name?" he asked, with feeble cunning. It must have been because I was dazed, then. What name did I give? It's yourself that ought to know, the smiling girl replied. Talking so free, the policeman wrote Beechcroft in his big black beast of a book, and the matron saw it. Mr. Purfell tried to laugh, not with complete success. Ha ha ha. Well, said he, that must have been because I was in Beech Street. It's in Beech Street you were, But what power put it into your mouth to say your address was Piccadilly, London, seeing that you were staying at number 19 Channel View, here, and it's the landlady called here in all her finery because you didn't go home to the fine tea she'd cooked for you, fish and all, and she'd heard of a fine, fat young man knocked down to the earth by a woman, and him brought in here with a leg dangling? I do live in Mr.
And him brought in here with a leg dangling?
I do live in Piccadilly, Mr. Purfell insisted. You say it, and you wouldn't tell a poor girl a lie, for I judge your quality by the smallness of your feet. What? Is that a sign of upper class? Small feet? Anyway.
Piccadilly, Mr. Purfell insisted.
Well, you say it, and you wouldn't tell a poor girl a lie, for I judge your quality by the smallness of your feet. But it's the policeman himself's been here this morning, as I'm telling you. But the matron pushed him out again, and the way she did it, saying you were asleep yet, and the giant said he should come again. And now it's this thermometer in my hand for your sweet mouth. Would you suck the... What is this story? Okay. I'm getting a vibe that this is like, if you ever watch like those old movies, they're called the Carry On movies. Like there's Carry On Up the Khyber and Carry On Holiday, Carry On in, I don't know. And it's all just like a bit cheeky kind of parody comedy, slap and tickle. You say it, and you wouldn't tell a poor girl a lie, for I judge your quality by the smallness of your feet. But it's the policeman himself's been here this morning, as I'm telling you. But the matron pushed him out again, and the way she did it, saying you were asleep yet, and the giant said he should come again. And now it's this thermometer in my hand for your sweet mouth. Would you like... would you suck the very mercury out of it? Would you suck the very mercury out of it? While sucking the mercury out of the thermometer, Mr. Purfell was debarred from speaking, but not from seeing. He gazed foolishly at the nurse. What he liked in her, more than her undeniable fresh comeliness, was her Irish speech, both phrase and accent. Okay, I can't do an Irish accent, okay? This story is just making fun of me, okay? I'm trying my best here.
More than her undeniable fresh comeliness.
Was her Irish speech,
More
both
than
phrase and
her
accent.
Undeniable fresh comeliness.
Was her Irish accent...
More than her undeniable fresh comeliness.
Was her Irish speech, both phrase and accent. There is no ground to suppose that the Irish are less cruel, more conscientious, more benevolent, more unselfish than Anglo-Saxons, but their speech always predisposes Anglo-Saxons in their favour, and undoubtedly Mr. Purfell had taken quite a fancy to the girl, of whose very name he was ignorant. He did not say to himself that the picturesqueness of her tongue was a reason for counting on her and trusting her, but that was what it amounted to in his mind. I can't see any policeman today, he said fretfully, as soon as she had withdrawn the thermometer. Sorry.
That was what it amounted to in his mind.
I can't see any policeman today, he said fretfully, as soon as she had withdrawn the thermometer. And you shan't? She exclaimed, examining the instrument. It's myself that will stop him. Your temperature is the temperature of a calm and holy saint. 98.7, but I'll write it down on the chart 102, and as the doctor will shut the door on any policeman, and with him... I'm so sorry, guys, about the accent.
The temperature of a calm and holy saint. Temperature is the temperature of a calm and holy saint.
98.7, But I'll write it down on the chart, 102. And it's the doctor will shut the door on any policeman, and him with his squeaking boots and his roaring great voice. She laughed, lightly, and wrote on the chart and showed it to the patient. As for Mr. Purfell, he was thunderstruck by her irresponsible audacity. To tamper with the record of a sick man's temperature? She frightened him. With nurses so fantastic and conscienceless, no patient could feel safe anywhere. And every patient was helpless. He spoke not a word. His breakfast arrived on a green lacquer tray, and on the tray a bit of paper with the name in pencil, Mr. Purfell. It was a breakfast for a weak girl after an operation. Mr. Purfell ate it in a moment, and in another moment was hungry again. But he dared not ask for more. A maid came in, and
Again. But he dared not ask for more.
A maid came in to clean the room.
But he dared not ask for more.
A maid came in to clean the room. She kept covertly and fearfully glancing at him as a murderer, for he had given a false name to a policeman. The matron herself came in, evidently out of evidently.
Again. But he dared not ask for more.
A maid came in to clean the room. To clean the room.
He dared not ask for more.
A maid came in to clean the room. She kept covertly and fearfully glancing at him as a murderer, for he had given a false name to a policeman. The matron herself came in, evidently out of curiosity to see a murderer caught and rendered innocuous by this deserved bugger. I need to relax.
He had
I'm
given
trying
a
to rush
false
through
name
it.
to a policeman.
The matron herself came in, evidently out of curiosity to see a murderer caught and rendered innocuous by the deserved accident of a broken leg. The doctor came in.
By the deserved accident of a broken leg.
The doctor came in. The nurse respectfully offered to him the chart and made surreptitiously a face at Mr. Purfell, who trembled. Surely the doctor could not fail to see through the trick of the false temperature chart. But the doctor did not blench. "Yes, I expected it," said the doctor. Another knock at the door.
The doctor did not blench.
"Yes, I expected it," said the doctor. Another knock at the door, which the nurse cautiously opened a few inches. Mr. Purfell oh, that's a doctor saying that.
Which the nurse cautiously opened a few inches.
"Mr. Purfell can see nobody today," said the doctor. "It was Miss Brewer," said the nurse, "to inquire after your health, and she's brought these flowers." In her hand was a miserable bunch of cheap flowers.
After your health, and she's brought these flowers.
In her hand was a miserable bunch of cheap flowers. "Who's Miss Brewer?" Mr. Purfell questioned, at a loss. "Sure, and isn't it the untidy creature who broke your honor's leg?"
After your health, and she's brought these flowers.
"Sure. Oh, wait. Guys, I don't often do this. I've done it like maybe 2 or 3 times before, maybe. I don't really like this. This isn't much fun. So I'm just going to stop. Well, I won't completely stop. Look, I don't think I'm vibing with the story. I think I'm in the wrong, frame of mind for it. I don't think I'm reading it well enough to call it an audiobook.
And multitudes of visitors.
And I'm tired. And I'm going to go to bed. Because I feel like it. Guys, don't ever feel like you have to stay behind just because someone tells you to. Obviously, if you need the money and they're paying you, do it. But if you are in the position to be able to not have to do that, then just don't do it. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload one of these. About Barbara's new. Or should I do the Frog Prince? No, I'll do About Barbara's. Okay. Right. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you can see the one I'm looking at, but I'm going to do it anyway. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to open the door because, as you can see, it is, what is it? 36 degrees, and that's about as hot as it gets before I start gasping for air. So let's not do that tonight. Oh, Jabus. Right. Oh, that's good. All right, I'm just going to quickly get this done here. Okay.
All things check. G'day guys, welcome back to Boring Dad Sleep Stories.
Just going to do the noise reduction. Now, what quote am I going to use from that one about barbers? What about when he cuts his thing? He now made a handle of my nose. That's pretty funny. Pardon me. Right. Okay. We're going to export this one. Mono. There we go. I'm not going to proof listen to it. Sorry, guys. It's probably going to be bad. No, it's not going to be bad. The whole point of this project is to get some stuff done each night or each week, really. The fact that I've been on every night for the last week is it's an exception. It's not the rule. So that might not be forever. Okay, that's just exporting. I'm trying to figure out what is the pardon me. What shall I put in the thumbnail? Maybe we should figure that out now. Okay, so we need to figure out what we're going to do here. So I'm going to open up Paint. We're going to start designing. Can you guys see that? Yep, cool, sweet. I'm going to pick a quote, and I reckon the quote's going to be something to do with the, oh, hang on, crikey, where are you? There it is. All right, I'm going to do the quote about him getting cutting his chin, when the barber cuts his chin. Yeah, where the heck is it gone? All right, okay, no, there it is. He finished lathering. This matter begot more surveyings of himself in the glass, and he put down his razor and brushed his hair with elaborate care, plastering it, blah, 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 blah. He began to rake and rip and tug at my chin. Or was it the handle he made a handle of my nose? To rake and rip and tug at my chin. Rake and rip and tug at my chin. Where's the handle, nose of a handle thing? Oh, he now made a handle of my nose to assist him shaving the corners of my upper lip. But I like that he now made a handle of my nose. I like that. Let's do that. All right. Here's my writing. Oh, sorry. Here's my writing tablet. Voila. Let's make a thumbnail. All right. To do that, has that finished exporting the sound file? Yes. Okay. We're turning this into an audiobook for the boys. And to do that, we need to turn it into a video file now. To turn it into a video file, I'm going to turn that fan off. We've reduced the temperature. It was 36 in here, and now it's 32. Oh yeah, that's good. We like that. Create project. We're going to copy in the audio file. I like Mark Twain. I hope he takes off. He's a popular new author. I don't know if anyone's heard of Mark Twain before. And this is the kind of humor you can expect when you subscribe to this channel, or when, boys, I'm talking to my sons, when you watch your silly dad making these audiobooks for you. Right, where is it? About Barbers New. There it is. All right, About Barbers by Mark Twain. We're going to copy that in there. Just do a little test listen.
G'day, guys. Welcome back to Boring Dad Sleep Stories. And one of the iron-armed pretending to be annoyed at the chaffings of his fellows. I observed that I shampooed it myself very thoroughly in the bath yesterday. I had him again.
All right, okay. Cool. What's it called again? About Barbers. About Barbers. All right, let's... we're going to do it in 720p because who has the bandwidth and the space for 1080p? Not me. All right, okay. So while it's doing that, now, and it's going pretty quick, now I'm going to quickly write this little quote. He made a handle of my... What is that again? He now made a handle of my nose. Okay, cool. Let's do it. So we're going to select the calligraphy brush over here. Oh my gosh. What I don't have in quality, I make up for in, I'm sure I make up for it in some way. Let's not think too hard about it. Okay, right. Here we go. Okay, so he now I'm going to narrate me writing word by word. How's that going to go for you? He now. There we go. I'm left-handed. This is fun. It's nice to see left-handed writing not looking as bad as it usually does on a whiteboard when I'm at work. He now made up, down, all around, do a loop-de-loop, and that's called an A. And then we're going to move on from the A to its little friend, the D. Everyone needs a friend. Well, who said that? Bob Ross. He now made a mucked up there. That's okay. Oh no, I'm pressing this button that's on the side of the pen. A handle of... Oh no, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm getting a bit quicker with this than I have been in previous nights. Oh god, this is a long word. My hand is getting stretched out. A handle of... Let's go. Ooh, loop-de-loop like a roller coaster. And let's do the fancy way that I like to do this. I think it's fancy anyway. It's not fancy. What am I talking about? I'm so tired. It's like nearly 1 o'clock here. Oh no, this wire is not going to work. It's going to go off the end there. Oh no. All right, okay. Oh no! Okay, there we go. All right. I'll have to do it a bit close. So, of my M looks completely different this time to my last M. Maybe I'll just say that it's me doing italics. Let's go there. Of my nose. All right. This is fun. Of my nose. Do a little quotation mark here. And then I'm going to select the quotation marks with my freeform cutting tool. Very technical process this using Microsoft Paint. Not. I love a bit of Microsoft Paint. And using a little like artist's tablet, this is like the cheapest one you can buy. One of the cheapest ones you can buy. Not cheap for me, I'm sure it's cheap for other people who actually know what they're doing, but yeah, fun. Yeah, that'll do. Look, it's not great. He now made a handle of my nose. I reckon that's going to intrigue the potential viewers, and they'll click on it. We're going to go viral, guys. We're going to get at least 10 views, maybe even 12. All right, so Untitled, what's this called again? About Barbers. Cool, and now we will turn that. Surely this is finished by now. Oh no, it's on 80%, the video file. And now we're going to quickly turn the writing that I just made into a thumbnail. Hey, I see someone else is in the chat, boys. So, say hi, and I'll say hi back. How about that? You don't have to. You can just do whatever you like. That's the good thing, isn't it, about the old internet? You can literally do whatever you like. All right. Within reason. But, yeah, the good old internet. Oh, man. I start to sound old when I say things like, I remember the dial-up sound. Be-dung, gidung, gidung. You remember the dial-up sound from back in the 90s and the 80s and the early 2000s? Because I do. At my mum's house in town, when my dad's house was out in the bush.
G'day, guys. Welcome
Whoa!
to Boring Dad Sleep Stories.
That's shocking. Okay, right. I'll start. While I'm making the thumbnail, I'll start quickly uploading that as well. You don't see any of this stuff. It's a future project for me to be able to figure out how you can see it without seeing all the other trimmings and trappings that are, my own personal parts of the browser. Like, I don't want you seeing certain stuff, mostly because I'm just paranoid. You'll weaponize the fact that I have like a world clock in my bookmarks bar and anyway. At my mum's house in town, we'd spend the weeks in town and spend the weekends out at the farm after the parents got divorced, after the Rents got divorced. Where is it? Where is it? It's gone. It's in pictures. I wanted it in pictures. Hang on. Oh yeah, he now made a handle of my nose. Oh wait, no, I'm trying to select the wrong bloody thing. Yeah, and Mum had a computer, the computer, in our living room, and because there was only one computer, and because it was and it was just so different to now, like kids like hide away and have their little laptop or their iPad or their phone like in their room, just like a little technology chipmunk, just eating all the technology, eating all the bandwidth. But we had it in the living room, and that's where we did our homework and emailed our teachers if we needed it. And yeah, we emailed our teachers. Of course we did. Yeah, things are different. Things are different. And I sound old saying that, but it's true. All right, so that's uploading. That'll upload really quickly. Now I'm going to get the picture, finish the thumbnail. There we go. I'm dragging that into Canva. I like Canva. It's nice. Nice and easy. I don't think it's worth the money for what I use it for. I think other people use it much more comprehensively, but I don't use it like that. This is the quiet end of the night where I stop ranting so much. You've come at a good time if you're in the chat at the moment. I'm not as loud and obnoxious as I was about half an hour ago. I started reading a story. I got about maybe like 1,000 words in, and then I just decided that I wasn't having a good time. So I just stopped. I just wasn't vibing with it. It's the third story of the night that I'm recording, that is. So I'm doing all right. So, all right, here we go. You guys aren't seeing this, but I'm just gonna make this thumbnail official. Make it a fish. Not a fish, official. What did we read tonight? We've read the Frog Prince, you know, the old Brothers Grimm tale. We've read this, which is a Mark Twain short story about his terrible bloody barber who like sounds like he shouldn't be a barber. He was raking his skin and cutting his skin and giving him a terrible haircut, covering him like basically head to foot in oil at the end. Very funny. It must be Macassar oil, or what they call Macassar oil, to slick it back with, right? Anyway. Right. Okay, thumbnail's done. We're going to open this fella up here. And, oh man, I love the process of making the book official. Like, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. We're going to have another book in the playlist. It's going to be awesome. And you're going to have another stream of me ranting into the camera about how much I love you guys. You being my sons. I don't know who you are in the chat there. I'm sure you're great. Why the hell not? I love you too. You can be my kid too. About barbers, Mark Twain. The channel is called Boring Dad Sleep Stories, and that is because I am a boring dad, and I like to read stories to help you sleep. See how I put the narrator's voice on there when I talk about that? But really, I just talk like a normal person most of the time. Just rant like a twat. Right, about barbers, Mark Twain. I'm just going to put like dark screen. No, I won't even. Maybe I should just stop putting like all these little clickbaity type things in the titles and just start just putting the title of the story and the author. Maybe that's the way to go. Well, that's what I'm going to do tonight anyway. I need the link for the story, which is up here. I'm going to cut that and copy it into here so people can get the book, get the story. I'm going to leave the blurb in its general format. I'm going to get the thumbnail and add it in here. Talkie. All right. It's funny, I was telling you guys, we'd made a fort on the couch the other day with a fort and some bed sheets and the broom as the supporting pole in the middle. And we were laying in under the fort roof on the couch, and you guys wanted to hear a story, and not having one at hand, but not wanting to leave and go to your room and get it out of the bookshelf and then come back, I decided to just make something up on the spot. And I don't think I've ever seen you so engaged in the last like couple of months at least than this story, because you could tell I was making it up on the spot. And I made it about two brothers called Ptolemy and Ptolemy. And the whole point I was trying to get at was Ptolemy was a thinker and Ptolemy was a doer. And I said Ptolemy used to sit. Ptolemy was a helpful young lad who liked to help and was very strong. And I said Ptolemy was also very helpful, but he was also a great thinker and loved to think about all the deep things in life and all the ways that the world worked. And older son, you just went, you went, stop, Dad, I know you're talking about me. And I was like, oh, am I? I thought it was really cute and really cool that you were self-identifying. I tried to make the characters, just in case you guys did that, because I'm not stupid. I know that you guys are going to do that. You think that I'm talking about you. So I tried to make it so it was relevant to both of you. I mean, both of you are both the characters put together, but interesting, Ola, that you chose the character that was helpful, but mostly implied through the way the story was written in my head, and through the plot. Like, he was the one that sat around and let Ptolemy do all the work, the physical work. Anyway, right, that was cute. I thought that was kind of cool. Right, love you both. That's uploaded, and I will see you next time because I'm going to go to bed. I have a day off tomorrow, but that's going to be spent mowing for the 400 millionth time this month because we're in our wet season, our monsoon season. Anyway, love you guys. And if you've stumbled upon this stream, and you're not my sons, then yeah, you're most welcome to come and join me as I record my voice and my enthusiasm for public domain texts, and just in general, my love for reading and speaking into the void, which is what I call it when I come in here and read into the microphone. You're most welcome to come and join us anytime. You're always welcome here. This is a warm, cozy, and safe space, is what I'm trying to make it. So yeah, I've had a great time tonight. It's been unhinged. I'm getting sick. Might not stream tomorrow. We'll see. And yeah, have a great day, guys. Wherever you are, stay safe. Hugs, not drugs. Don't be a fool. Stay in school. Be kind to your parents. And I'll finish with one last dad joke. When you get sick, don't kiss your mother on the lips. You might think that when you have a cold, it's sweet to kiss your mother.